Hello creators and creative friends, welcome to the channel. Today we are going to talk about post transfer using Flux.2 Klein. If you have used Flux.2 Klein for a while, you probably know one common problem. Sometimes it can get body anatomy wrong. It may generate strange limbs, incorrect body parts, or poses that do not look natural. That is why in my previous videos, I did not use it as a main model for tasks like post transfer. But recently, with the help of LoRa, Flux.2 Klein can now transfer a pose from a reference image to the portrait you want to edit. Let me show you a few examples so you can see what I mean. There are three images on the screen. The two images on the left are reference images. The first one is a full body image, and we use it as a pose transfer. The second one is a headshot, and we use it as a face reference. With the workflow I will introduce in this video, we can transfer the pose from the full body image to the woman in the headshot. The image on the far right is the final result. You can also customize her clothes and background by changing the prompt. Now let's look at another situation. Suppose you already have a portrait and you only want to change her pose. You want the new pose to look similar to the image on the left. This workflow can also do that. At the same time, it can keep the subject's identity, face, and overall style. Alright, I think you now understand what pose transfer means. But if it's still not very clear, do not worry. Let's jump into Configure and look at the workflow I built. I will put the workflow link in the video description. You can download it for free. This workflow was built on Running Hub, which is a cloud platform for Config. If you want to learn more about Running Hub, I will also put the links in the description. This workflow can be divided into two stages. First, we start with the post reference image. However, Flux.2 Klein cannot use this image directly for clean post transfer, so this node group converts the portrait into a mannequin image. This step removes the subject style, clothes, background, and other details. What remains is mainly the pose information. This gives Flux.2 Klein a much cleaner post reference to follow. Now this mannequin image is used as the reference image in the node group below. The other reference image is the headshot. With these two reference images, plus a prompt that describes the clothes and background, Flux.2 Klein generates a new image. The new portrait takes the pose from the first reference image. At the same time, it keeps the identity from the second reference image. You can see that the final pose is very close to the original pose. More importantly, there are no obvious anatomy errors. So why did Flux.2 Klein work better this time? The answer is the LoRa adapters I used. In the first stage, I added this LoRa. You can download it from Hugging Face, and I have put the link in the description. This LoRa can turn almost any human reference image into a faceless glossy mannequin. At the same time, it keeps the pose and the body proportions. From the sample images, you can see what it does. It replaces the human identity with a faceless green mannequin while keeping the same pose, limb positions, and proportions. Depending on your prompt, it can either preserve the background or clean it up. For this task, we do not want to keep the background from the pose reference image. So first, I use this image remove BG node to remove the background. Then in the prompt, I also include the words remove garments and remove shoes. So the output is only a mannequin without clothes and without the original background. In the node group below, I use another LoRa. This LoRa was trained by the same author as the previous one. It was designed as a companion model for the mannequin LoRa. Its job is to transfer a mannequin pose reference onto a character subject. In the prompt, you need to include the trigger word matching pose 9b. I also describe the clothes and background in the prompt. Alright, now let's look at another scenario. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this time I want to preserve her dress and background. I only want to change the pose. Let's compare the output image with the reference images. In this group, I used a specific node to help preserve the style of her dress and the other identity details. I introduced this node in a previous video, so I will not go too deep into it here, but I will put the link to that video in the description. Now let's bypass this node and see what happens. You can see that the necklines of the two dresses are different. There are also some problems with the shoes. This shows just how much that node helps with keeping the identity consistent. You can experiment with the presets inside the node to get best results. Sometimes this node may not help much. In that case, you can bypass it and add more details to the prompts. For example, you can describe the dress style more clearly. You can mention the neckline, the sleeves, the fabric, the length, or any detail you want to keep. In short, describe the missing identity details that you want the model to preserve. And that is all for this video. If you enjoy this workflow, consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.